rehabilitation services in the world. That's amazing. As a coach, Michelle is committed to facilitating the economic, social, and personal independence of individuals with disabilities and other vocational barriers to employment. Our speech title and topic is In the Neck of the Hourglass. Please help in shaking life up after 50. Please help me welcome Michelle Richardson.
Google says house guest etiquette number 1, be invited. Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be back. For richer or poorer, better or worse, sickness and in health, till death do us part. Well, that's a tall order. I love everything about my marriage except my husband. He was or is a wonderful guy, and I can look back and look forward to our 10-year anniversary. These days, I ask myself, how long is this going to last? I met a couple married 55 years. I asked her, what did he get right? She said, 3 boys. Then she asked me, how long have you been married? I said, well, if you want to call it a marriage, 15 years. And then she says, well, honey, you're just getting started. And I said, what the? I mean, I guess marriage is a tall order. And it is great for some, but not for all. I mean, I loved my husband, but I was in love with my mattress. Or shall I say, mattress? My mattress delivered 9 firm inches. I mean 9 firm inches of memory foam with a 10-year warranty, and that worked for me. I guess longevity was just not my thing. That's why I worked part-time. And recently, I was offered a full-time position. I don't know how some people do it. Working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and sometimes more. Why, I leave stuff in my car just so I can go back and get it. My boss said, Michelle, if you leave one more sanitary napkin in your car, you're fired. I said, I can't hear you. I left my hearing aid in the glove compartment. Excuse me. But not before I take my 30-minute bathroom break. I hear her again. Michelle, Michelle, where have you been? Those reports are due. Where are they? Well, they're in the bathroom with my cell phone. What I really wanted to say was, you can take that job and shut it. I'm taking my unemployment check to the marijuana clinic. The reality is, there were problems in my marriage. I had all the control over the welfare of my children, but no control over my finances. there's a motel in Gardena with Wi-Fi, and they left the light on. Well, that didn't work for me. So I walked away from my marriage, and I embraced myself. It wasn't easy. I got tremendous criticism and negative feedback, not just from my friends and associates, but my family. A friend of mine says that the new F word is family. And I found that out when I left my husband. I mean, as a woman, you just don't do that. Men walk out of relationships every day, and not much of anything is said about that. That's just how our society is. And the children go with mom. Ex-husband pays child support. Well, I wasn't going to go down that road. He was keeping the kids. And it worked out just fine. But I was on a road that I had never taken before. A road to independence. Darren LaCroix said, what are some of the adversities that you faced? What I wrote down was being a woman in a male-dominated society where my gender role, which was quite acceptable, was to be a housewife, a homemaker. I was quite a stepford wife, by the way. That was my role. So to be an independent woman, to make her own money, stand on her own 2 feet, teetering 50, and they say that 35 is the new 50. Well, what do you think? I was stuck in the neck of the hourglass, where the first half of my life was filled with marriage, children, a beautiful home, and a white picket fence, tradition, Thanksgiving dinners, children. Some of you guys might remember me from my speech. Most girls play with Barbies and dolls. I was no different. I loved to brush their hair, dress them in pretty clothes, and play dollhouse with my girlfriends. So when I became an adult and realized I was pregnant, all I can think was a living doll. She'd wear beautiful clothes. I'd brush her hair, and she'd go to college, not just any college, but the best college. And whatever I didn't accomplish in my life, I lived vicariously through her. Well, I didn't have any girls, so I had to live vicariously through myself. And that came with making some choices. Jeff Johnson, PhD, author of The Hourglass Solution, says, making choices are the elixir of life. And midlife is an opportunity to grow, and choices mean freedom. I'm going paperless as we speak. I had some choices to make, and it was rough. Got myself a little place with a little bit of money that I had. Within 1 year, I got a notice that said, pay or quit. I quit. I moved out, had a job as a 100% commission-only situation. I was lousy at it. I could have gone back with my tail between my legs, saying something like, I can't do it. I'm too old. I don't have any experience. I'm not making enough money. They don't like me. I called a friend, said, hey, can I come and stay with you for a short while? Don't have a whole lot, but I can contribute something. And that's what I did. Because my prior life was driving me to Depression. Boomers make up 20% of the population, but are half of the contributors in death-related outcomes. Columbia University study says depression is the highest in middle age. I was there. My girlfriend's husband had left her for another woman in her family. She was having a pity party and invited me. I brought the deflated balloons and the wilted flowers, and she supplied the vodka. We cried and crawled on the floor and felt sorry for each other. And she went to the bathroom to throw up. I got in my car and got into a lot of trouble after that. To make a long story short, I was stuck. I felt like I didn't have any choices or any options. But wait, I decided I'd join a club. I realized that I was good at public speaking. And within 1 year, I had won the district, area, division, and district humorous speech contest. I was getting called on to speak at venues such as the United States Post Office, Shields for Families nonprofit, Harvard UCLA Medical Center, to name a few. I was recognized in March by the Links Association, one of the oldest group of professional women who decided that they weren't going to do domestic work, but go for higher education. These days, when I'm not advocating and coaching my clients who happen to have disabilities, and if you ask me, we all have disabilities, but some of us call them weaknesses. And we all have strengths. So when I'm not coaching my clients, you might find me in the classroom at Cal State Dominguez Hills, working on a higher degree in philosophy and humanities. Things are looking up. No longer am I stuck in the neck of the hourglass. When I say you have, I want you to say options. You have
Options.
You have
Options.
Don't think because you're over 50 that life has to stay where it is and there is no opportunity for growth. Fewer choices to make. There's a wide world out there waiting to hear from you. When I say you have, I want you to say
Options.
you have
Options.
You have options. You can join a club. You can make new friends. You can change your career. Oprah Winfrey says this: the amount of money you make is a metaphor for how you feel about yourself. If you're not feeling good about yourself, your bank account's going to reflect it. We've heard a thing or two from Donald Trump. He's got to be the most arrogant guy on the planet, right? And his bank account reflects that. Okay? You have options to make choices in your life right now. I urge you to do that. I did. And the sky is not the limit. The sky doing something for the last 45 years and you're tired of it, do something different. Because you do have choices. My life has been a struggle at times. I didn't know where I was going to sleep at night. My self-esteem was on the floor. I was a woman trying to make it in a man's world. And you know what? I was listening to Caitlyn Jenner the other day, and I was like, this guy wants to be me. I got it going on. He's going to go through all that trouble and all that money to have all this, and by the way, this is 100% real beef. Then I must be doing something right. I want to leave you guys wanting more. So, again, when I say you've got, I want you to say options. You've got
Options.
You've got
Options.
What are one of the options that you have today?
I could go back to school.
Awesome. What are one of the options that you have today?
Learn more.
What are one of the options that you have today? What are one of the options?
Change your career to speaking.
Your option?
Therapy speaker.
Your option.
Join more clubs.
Your option.
Deciding which one to go on to work.
Yours.
Watching TV.
Progressing in speaking roles.
Yours.
Learning computer.
Yours.
Speaking more.
Yours.
Networking with people.
Yours.
Travel.
Yours.
Increase my value.
Yours.
Writing a book.
Yours. Yours.
A career mentor.
Yours. Yours.
Going to
Yours. Yours.
Cheeseburger or keto?
Ooh. Yours. Hungry.
And be bold.
Yours.
Wooden choir.
Yours.
Connect with myself.
Yours.
Add value to myself.
Yours.
Present well earthen eye inspirational presentation.
Yours.
Coaching more women.
Yours.
Go for it.
Yours.
Believe in myself.
Yours.
Do follow-up calls to the 50 promo.
Yours.
Networking.
Yours.
Start a business.
Yours.
Teach more.
And for the man who's got it all,
Going to get counseling.
you know, they say that therapists need therapists, coaches have coaches. I got one. And my coach said, perfect execution makes perfect practice. So we've got a lot of options here today in a very short amount of time. Know that you have that. And commit yourself to being the best at what it is that you choose to do. Yeah, being stuck in the hourglass is something that happens to people. Oftentimes, it is called midlife crisis. So go through what you've got to go through. But know this, when I say you got, you say
Options.
when I say you got, you say
Options.
My name is Michelle Richardson, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Michelle, will you stay here?
Yeah.
And,
We get two qualified speakers to evaluate.
do we?
Qualified speakers to evaluate.
Tom. I thought you did a great job. You had great energy. You were funny. You pushed the envelope on the body humor, and I'm all about that. But you might want to consider the audience. I'm not sure. And you brought up great examples, great stories to support what you were saying. The one thing I might reconsider is the Caitlyn Jenner 100% beef thing. That could be a sensitive issue. There's that whole thing, I am a real woman. I'm not sure how that would go over depending on the crowd. But no, overall, I thought you really professionally used the space you walked around. You did a great job.
Thank you. Another person?
One more qualified? Yeah. Another qualified speaker? Quick. Yeah.
June. Helena had her hand up, and then we'll have,
Carol.
So you were talking about getting stuck into the hourglass. What I was looking for, I know that we all have options, but what I was looking for in your story was to tell us some concrete things that we can do to help ourselves get unstuck. That's what I was like, okay, I am stuck in the hourglass, because I'm there with you right now in that hourglass. So I was looking for something viable that I could take home with me. I think that's something that when you're gonna give this speech again, that you may want to add to that.
thank you. And Carol.
I enjoyed your speech.
Thank you.
I especially like the stories when you're talking about the pity party. And I would have liked to have heard more stories about these hardships that you went through and why you got in the situation where you were evicted from your apartment. I'm sure you had a lot of stories also about your